Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on a crucial role in investment banking, the compliance officer.
Absolutely vital. And we're drawing heavily on insights from Ayub Sheikh today.
Right, Ayub Sheikh, a tech recruitment trainer, tons of experience, 24 plus years in finance, fintech. He was featured on Tech Recruiter Insights.
Yeah, his perspective is incredibly valuable for understanding this space.
So our mission here is pretty straightforward. Give you the essential breakdown of what these officers do, the skills they need, and the challenges they're up against.
Kind of a shortcut to understanding this critical function.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack it. Where do we start with their core responsibilities?
Well, Ayub really emphasizes how central they are. They're kind of the bedrock ensuring banks follow the rules.
Right. So first up, Ayub mentions regulatory monitoring. What does that actually involve day to day?
It means constantly staying on top of a whole raft of regulations, things like MiFID II, Dodd-Frank, AML guidelines. It's a moving target.
Sounds pretty intense. Just keeping up must be a full-time job in itself.
It really is. And it's not just knowing the rules, it's policy implementation too.
So translating those dense regulations into rules the bank's staff can actually follow.
Precisely, making it operational. Then you've got trade surveillance.
Okay, what's that? Using tech to watch trading activity?
Yeah, basically. Using sophisticated systems to detect anything that looks iffy, like suspicious or illegal trading.
Like a high-tech financial watchdog. Ayub also talks about AML KYC oversight, right?
Anti-money laundering and know your customer. Super important.
So that's about checking who the clients are, making sure everything's above board, preventing illicit funds.
Exactly. It's a crucial frontline defense. And then there's risk assessment.
So, looking ahead, identifying potential compliance risks before they become problems.
Yes, and suggesting ways to mitigate them. They also handle compliance training for staff and support audits when regulators come knocking.
And reporting, I assume.
Communicating issues.
Definitely. Reporting to regulators, being transparent about any breaches, that's paramount. Okay, so that's a lot on their plate. What about the technology side? Ayub mentions specific tools.
Yeah, the tech stack is pretty interesting. You have these big compliance platforms, think NICE, Actimize, or Smarsh, Oracle Financial Services. They help manage risk and surveillance.
So specialized software for this specific job.
Right. And dedicated surveillance tools too, like NASDAQ Smarts or Bloomberg Surveillance, which are designed to monitor trading activity very closely.
And what about just managing all the paperwork? There must be mountains of it.
Oh, absolutely. That's where document management systems like SharePoint or Confluence come in. Essential for keeping records organized and accessible, especially for audits.
Makes sense. But it's not just about having the right software, is it? Ayub stresses skills too.
Hugely important. You need the right people using those tools.
So what skills are key? What should, say, a recruiter look for, according to Ayub?
Well, foundational regulatory knowledge is table stakes. You have to know the laws globally. But beyond that, Ayub points to analytical thinking.
The ability to see patterns, to spot risks in complex data that aren't immediately obvious.
Exactly. It's about interpreting the spirit, not just the letter, of the law sometimes.
Yeah.
And spotting subtle red flags.
Communication must be huge too, explaining complex stuff clearly.
For sure. Reporting findings to management, to traders, to regulators. Clarity is crucial. And attention to detail, you're often looking for needles in haystacks in vast data sets.
Right. Catching small violations that could become big problems.
Precisely. And Ayub also highlights integrity and collaboration. You need ethical people who can work effectively across different teams, different parts of the bank.
Given all this, the complexity, the tech, the skills, it sounds like a challenging role. Ayub mentions some specific hurdles.
Oh, definitely. One of the biggest is just navigating the sheer complexity and constant change in global regulations. It's a labyrinth.
And I imagine there's tension between compliance and business sometimes.
That's another major challenge Ayub points out. Balancing strict compliance with the bank's need for agility and, well, making money. It's a constant tightrope walk.
Plus, managing the sheer volume of data for surveillance must be daunting.
Massive amounts of transaction data. And then there's the constant threat of things like insider trading or market manipulation you need to guard against.
And making sure policies are applied consistently everywhere. especially across different countries.
Yeah, that global consistency is tough. Different regions, different nuances, and when investigations do happen, the pressure is immense to respond quickly and accurately.
So, if you wanted to figure out if someone's cut out for this, what interview questions does Ayub suggest?
He recommends practical questions. Things like, how do you stay updated with changing global financial regulations? That probes their commitment.
Okay, tests their proactivity.
Right. Or, can you explain your experience with specific tools like Smarts or Actimize? That gets into their tech skills.
Makes sense. What else?
Asking them to walk you through how they handled a past regulatory breach or an audit. That shows their real-world problem solving.
Under pressure, yeah.
And maybe, what's your approach when compliance needs seem to conflict with business goals? That reveals their judgment and negotiation skills.
Those are good ones. So, wrapping this up, what's Ayub's core message, the main takeaway about these compliance officers?
His key advice is really to look beyond just someone who follows rules. The best people in this role, he says, are those who can genuinely interpret risk.
Interpret risks.
Yeah, understand the nuances, leverage the digital tools effectively, and communicate clearly. That's what allows the bank to operate confidently, but also correctly.
That's a powerful distinction, not just rule following, but risk interpretation. It paints a much more dynamic picture of the role.
Definitely.
So as we finish this deep dive, it's clear compliance officers are absolutely essential in the high-stakes world of investment banking. They're proactive guardians, not just reactive responders.
Couldn't agree more.
Which leads to a final thought for you. Building on Ayub's insight, how does that ability to truly interpret risk rather than just rigidly follow rules impact not only compliance itself, but the overall health, the stability, and maybe even the capacity for ethical innovation within a major financial institution? Something to think about. Thanks for joining our deep dive today.